What is up, everybody? Before we get into today's episode, I want to make one quick final announcement regarding the hats. We have a super small amount left, and Jeff and I we just want to let you guys know that after this Friday, the 13th, the spooky date, how can you forget, they will not be available online anymore, regardless if they sell out or not. So if you want to get a hat, one of the very few remaining, get in on the fun before this Friday at Karstcast.com. And also, before we get into it, I want to give a quick thank you to all of our lovely patrons over at patreon.com/the Karstcast, or just Karstcast, not the Karstcast. If you want to become a patron, head on over there. We have exclusive access to bonus episodes, Q&As, shoutouts at the end of every episode, Zoom hangouts, and much, much more. $15 patrons get their questions answered in the main episode. And yeah, if you're looking for a great way to support Jeff and I, because we do this podcast for free, we love doing it for free, but if you're looking for a great way to support us, either consider buying a hat or become a patron. It's a lot of fun. Anyways, enjoy the episode.
Karstcast. My name is Jeff. I watch movies sometimes. And I'm Karsten. I also watch movies sometimes. You're listening to the Karstcast Moviecast.
Hello. Welcome to the 86th episode of the Karstcast Moviecast. Jeff, how many
86.
chromosomes? Yeah, how many chromosomes does a chicken have?
So I feel like this is a trick question, and I'm going to say 26.
It is 78.
78?
78, yeah. I was blown away too. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. 1 second. Sorry, I just had to delete my
I
Among
would
Us
say.
tweet. I just got back, like right before this, I was playing Among Us with some people on Twitter, and it was a ton of fun. So thanks to any of you who showed out to that. It was good.
Yeah.
And
Congrats. Did you win?
I did win. Yeah, I was the imposter.
There you go.
And I won.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the big event of the week, really. Nothing else happened this week.
Zero things happened that I can think of.
No, the big event is that you almost dropped your Coke video.
So here's the thing, right? By the time this episode comes out, I figured at this point I might as well just cross promote. By the time this episode comes out, the Coke video will be out.
Exciting.
Yeah, I finished the Coke video, and then I was gonna wait until after the election to release it, and then the election just never ended.
Yeah, it took
until
yesterday.
A minute. And then I'm like, it's already the weekend. I don't want to overshadow Karsten's video, his What I Watched video.
Yeah, don't want to. Yeah, exactly.
Because there's a lot of crossover in the audience for people that want to hear what you watch and people that want to see me drink old Coke.
Yeah. So
pretty much just like a circle. It's not even a Venn diagram.
No, yeah. My entire fan base is Coke fans. Very hated by the Pepsi fans. But yeah, no. It's crazy. The election feels like it took forever, but also our last episode, the election still hadn't happened yet. But at the same time, the election was the next day, and we just now figured it out. My point is, it's been a long week.
It felt longer than it was because it was more important than the normal things that you're waiting for.
Right. Yeah, I was on edge the whole time.
Yeah. It's like how a lot of your fans feel when they know you're about to release a video.
Yeah. I was not. I thought no one would care this week about the What I Watched This Month video, but so many people were hitting me up like, I need this. And I was like, you don't need it. You definitely...
They're like, I need to know what you watched.
Yeah.
And you're just like, Hubie Halloween.
Hubie Halloween, baby. And people got mad. People were pissed at how much I enjoyed it. But, yeah.
Well, they're wrong.
Yeah. What was, I have to ask, because we haven't talked since before, the night before the election, where...
Yeah.
Or not the night before the election, but the night before it got called. But how was the vibes in Florida that day?
Well, Florida was called immediately,
right?
Like, on election night because it was fairly significantly for Trump.
Yeah.
But I will say that in the last 48 hours, a lot of my neighbors have taken down their Trump signs.
No, I mean, not no, but
it's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, so
that's interesting.
When I like the last 2 days, I've like driven out of my neighborhood and I was looking around like,
yeah,
less of those.
A little empty now. Yeah. Yesterday, as soon as they announced it, I biked downtown faster than I ever have. I was like, just really wanted to see what it looked like down there, because I'm like, I would consider myself like a hype beast in that way, where I'm a little hype pervert.
I would consider myself a hype beast in that way.
Like, anytime, I like to think of myself as someone who doesn't give in to that kind of stuff, but anytime anything happens where it seems like there'll be a large group, I'm there.
You are all about the zeitgeist.
I'm all about it, baby. I mean,
it's Karstcast.
Yeah, right. That's what they call it.
That's a terrible bunch of syllables put together. It just does not sound good. It just sounds like you're like having some kind of medical issue. You're like, Karstgeist.
Yeah. But anyway, it was really good energy downtown. And then it was cool. But then I went back later with my car to get a better view, because I was kind of, with my bike, I was like in and out of there because I'm like, I don't want to catch COVID. So
yeah,
because they're kind of skyrocketing in Chicago right now. But
yeah, kind of everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
There was a truck that was like at the end of my neighborhood that had like 7 Trump flags on the back of it.
Oh,
and today I looked and they replaced all of the flags with different flags. So now one of them just says like Florida is for Trump, like specifically. That's
so weird. This person just has a bunch of flags.
They have too many flags.
Yeah. Yeah. But speaking of in terms of the flags, but Jeff and I want to know if anyone was at our live stream thing. Jeff and I, this last week, did like a 3-hour live stream on Twitch that ended in us getting into politics for like 1 hour.
We ended up being the number 3 politics stream on all of Twitch.
Yeah. Which is so weird. I woke up because I was like, it was so late at night too. It was like 1 a.m. here and 2 a.m. for you. And I remember going to bed just like kind of really tired and like, did that just happen? Did we?
Yeah, I was really confused as well because I kind of like just went off a little bit.
Yeah, we also just weren't in like our goofy mode. We were just kind of seriously talking about politics.
And it was because this was like 3.5 days into like post the voting ending and before it was called. Yeah. So I think we were just still like in that anxious mode of like 95% sure it's going to be fine, but it wasn't called yet.
It was like, it was at a very unique time, because literally less than like, I want to say like 6 hours later it was called.
Yeah.
Which is funny, but that's kind of what's been in the news this week, I guess. I figured today would be like a loaded episode because we got 2 movies to talk about.
Yeah.
But
we do.
Yeah, I guess we could just get into it.
Unless you have anything else you wanted to talk about.
I don't think so. You're saying that as if I should have something else to talk about, but I don't.
I didn't. I just wanted to put you on the spot.
Okay.
And see if you could come up with anything.
My plant is hanging in there, by the way, for anyone wondering. Plant is still doing okay. I watered it today. And I think that's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. So what order did you watch these films in? Because the 2 films were both, we went like the Sofia Coppola, Bill Murray double feature. Mm-hmm. That sounded like one was Sofia Coppola and one was Bill Murray, but it was Sofia Coppola, Bill Murray double feature.
Yeah.
So both of them
together.
Sofia Coppola directed
2 movies.
Both, and Bill Murray starred in both.
Starred in both movies. Right.
On the Rocks and Lost in Translation.
And Lost in Translation. I personally watched them in the, I didn't rewatch On the Rocks for this recently, but I only saw it like a month ago, so I was like, I don't really need to. So I watched On the Rocks first, technically, and then watched Lost in Translation today.
Yeah, I watched Lost in Translation today and watched On the Rocks yesterday with my parents.
Okay, so let's just start with On the Rocks then.
Yeah. Just some nice reverse chronological order.
Yeah. because I think, and I don't know if this will apply to you, but it's kind of going in worst. We saved the best for last.
We did.
Okay, cool. All right.
I think we can agree on that.
Okay, sweet. Okay, well, before we get into it, so first we're talking about On the Rocks. This is a new release, 2020, exclusively on Apple TV, correct? Or is it rentable?
I believe that. I think you might be right on that.
Okay, all right.
I'm
but
not
it is
100%
also
sure.
doing a limited run in theaters. Now, I wouldn't recommend going to see it in theaters. It's not worth it.
A very limited run.
Yeah.
I would imagine, since I think things are going to close again.
Yeah, but it is playing at the Landmark near me, so yeah. But it's directed by Sofia Coppola, obviously.
Yeah,
and
I would say that this is not a Landmark film.
The synopsis reads, the story of a young mother who reconnects with her larger-than-life playboy father on an adventure through New York. In this comedy about aging, marriage, and the tenuous bond between parents and grown children, New York author and married mother of two, Laura, has become suspicious that her career-driven husband may be having an affair with a co-worker, a speculation encouraged by her Kadish bon vivant father.
The ending of that just was a little rough.
So,
you know what? We're just gonna roll with it.
Did I get it? Did I get it though?
I don't even know what the ending was definitely French. But then the last word that was English, I'm not sure what the word is, and I might not even know that word, honestly.
Well, I know bon vivant. I guess that it's just French. I know that means good living, good lived.
Okay, so yeah, that's
vivant
probably
is
like
lived. Yeah, I just didn't say it in a French.
Like Playboy, but in the French version.
Bon vivant, father, and Kadish, right?
That's bon vivant.
Yeah. Is it Kaddish or I think it's Kaddish? Kadish? Caddish. Cadd.
You know what? If I'm gonna be honest with you, I am not entirely sure that I've ever seen that word written.
It's Kaddish, and the definition is dishonorable, especially towards a woman. Kaddish. Yeah, I've never heard that before.
I mean, that is a very specific word, and it is accurate. So whoever wrote this plot synopsis was really showing off their vocabulary.
Right, and here it says adjective, and then it says informal/dated. So this is a dated word. So we weren't supposed to know it, right?
We weren't supposed to know it, because
good for us.
Honestly, whoever wrote the synopsis was disrespectful towards young people trying to understand what they wrote.
Right. And I think us not knowing the word means that we are not disrespectful towards women, because we've never heard it before.
And it also means that we're young.
And we're young. Yep. So
that means we're cool. That means we're cool and we respect women.
Yeah. That's the Karstcast way, baby. So
we're probably the only people that get so in depth that we discuss the plot synopsis and we make sure that we understand all of the words.
Yeah. We make sure.
What if that's our new podcast? We actually just review like plot summaries and try to make sure they're accurate and explain like the words if we think someone might not.
We try to write a better synopsis. We correct every Google synopsis.
Yeah. So if I was going to correct this one, I would just say that Bill Murray is very bizarrely creepy in this movie.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, he's not a playboy. Like, this plot synopsis is acting like he's just like this like playboy that everyone likes, but he's weird.
He's weird, yeah.
He's really weird and creepy, and I don't understand why you'd have Bill Murray in your film to make him weird and creepy.
Yeah. No, I don't like him at all. This movie has already aged poorly, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It also just
because no one's wearing masks.
Because no one's wearing masks. I'm like, this would never happen in New York City. No, okay, what was I going to say earlier? I had a point to make. Okay, I was curious to hear what you thought of this movie and if we were on the same page about it, because I think it's like it's not like a widely disliked film. I think a lot of people actually really like it and find a ton of charm in it. I don't know a lot of people that love it, but
yeah,
I also know that I think just from what I've read online, am in the minority here in that I just don't like this movie. So I didn't know how you would feel.
Overall, I'm like very neutral towards this film. It's like the pacing of it's really weird. I mean, I feel like the pacing of it felt like it was supposed to mirror this. Rashida Jones that's who's in this, right?
Yeah. Rashida Jones and Bill.
Yeah, I felt like her character, like the pacing of the film was supposed to mirror what her character's going through, where the first 40 minutes are like very slow. Like almost nothing happens in the first 40 minutes of this film. And then like when Bill Murray starts this whole spy like plot in the middle of the film, then it picks up and it's like very like, you know, they're flying all over, going to different places, like following people in cars. So like it just gets hectic, and I feel like that would be like what her character, when she comes to this like understanding what she thinks is happening in this relationship, then her brain is like kind of going all over the place, and that is mirrored by the pacing of the film.
Yep.
So I feel like something in that realm was fairly deliberate. But the issue I have with that is the first 40 minutes are so boring.
Yeah.
I literally was incredibly bored the first 40 minutes of this film.
Same.
I actually liked the Bill Murray spy part of it. Like that like especially when I would say the most I was in this film was when they went to Mexico. I'm like, all right, like this, like there's some stuff is happening now.
That's when it started to pick up for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But the first 40 minutes is really bad. Like I would never watch this again because I'm like, I can't sit through that 40 minutes again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing happened.
The funny thing is, it's like I purchased a ticket for this through the virtual New York Film Festival. And how that works is that like I was there for my ticket was for like 8 p.m. that night, and it expires at like midnight, I think. So you have this like 4-hour viewing window. And that first 40 minutes was so boring, I passed out and fell asleep and woke up with just enough time to finish it. So I was just like on edge the rest of the movie, and I was like, "This is so I can't believe I passed out." Because it was
like you were on the rocks.
I was on the rocks. Hey. No, I was also very bored because, and I think this applies especially to that first 40 minutes. Someone, I can't take credit for this. Someone on Letterboxd put it perfectly in saying this is like a rom-com without any of the romance and not a lot of comedy, and it just is like that kind of movie when you take all of that out. And
no, that's a good point. Yeah, because again, Bill Murray, it was just uncomfortable when he I mean, when you got to like the more in the weeds spy stuff where like, you know, they were into Mexico and stuff, at least enough stuff was happening where you could kind of overlook it. Yeah. But when they had all these long sequences of like them just talking, the stuff Bill Murray was saying was so creepy that I was just weirded out the whole time. I'm like, why are you talking about like the, you know, evolution of breasts to your daughter?
Yeah. So the thing about Bill Murray here is like, I think this movie is he's carrying it on his shoulders, in that this movie was so reliant on him and his performance and his character, because like we said, it starts so boring. Like I love Rashida Jones, but her character's so boring in this movie.
Yes.
And so then it's like Bill Murray shows up, and it's supposed to be this new spicy character that's like kind of offensive and like different from his daughter, but like exciting. And that's supposed to really carry this movie. And when you don't like Bill Murray, which I think is the case for a lot of people, us included, because he's a weirdo, then it's like, what's the point?
Yeah, because Rashida Jones isn't unlikable in this film. She just is given this very passive role where she's just all of her actions are influenced by other people. She doesn't make any decisions. Things just happen to her.
And knowing Sofia Coppola, because I've seen most of her movies by now, I still haven't seen, I think, 2 or 3. Like, she's a very clever filmmaker and pays a lot of attention to, I think, the female characters in her films. Like, it's a very different approach, which is why I was like, I feel like this movie is saying something like better than what I got, but if it is, it's so not there for me.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out like what the message of this film was. Like, because there definitely was something about how Bill Murray was influencing his daughter to act as if all men are like him and just like cheat constantly.
Yeah.
And it's like at the end, and this is like a spoiler, so I don't know, enter that. I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah, at the end, like her husband wasn't doing that. So I don't know what the message is in that.
Yeah.
It just nothing happened in this movie.
No, nothing did happen, and it's just you're okay. So I'm putting it together. So far, you're on a bad streak with Sofia Coppola movies because you did not like The Bling Ring at all. You didn't like this. Yeah, I
mean, this was shot better than Bling Ring, at least.
It was. Okay, it literally was, though, because I remember seeing the trailer for this a while back, and it was one of my most, like, anticipated of the year. I was super excited because I really like the way it's shot, and because it's got this, like, dark blue gray color palette to it that I was really into. Especially, like, there's that one shot of her and Bill Murray in the car, like, whipping through New York City. And that's, like, I think that's a really nice shot. Just is nice to look at. But there's nothing to it.
Okay. On a technical level, though, some of the close-ups were weird. Like, they, like, they didn't give them, like, any, like, room in front of their heads when they were doing this. And then their eye lines were, like, slightly off sometimes. They just, like, dead punch their faces in the middle of the frame when they're like this. When normally, obviously, you have, like, some, you know, like, room in front of your face. It was just, like, a couple of shots were weird.
Totally. That's, like, a general trend with her movies, too, I think. That happened in The Bling Ring, where it's just... Some shots are just ugly for reasons. And it happens a lot in Virgin Suicides. And another one that I'm... Beguiled is beautiful. But yeah, I don't know why her movies look the way they do, to be honest. Because I don't get a lot out of that.
Yeah, I don't either. Okay. One thing I thought of in the middle of this film is that Bill Murray just reminded me of, like, a really old incel.
He did.
Because the way he was talking was not a way that anyone would find attractive, right? He was just like so blunt. It's like what an incel would think how you talk to women is.
Yeah, he would. Oh my god, dude, you're so right. He is so unlikable in this movie.
He's like, so you know, bonobos, the women are in charge. Wink, wink. Like what?
What do you? Yeah.
What does that mean? Am I supposed to, like, think that you're attractive now?
Right.
Also, Bill Murray is so clearly, like, in his 70s. He's very old.
He's very old. He does not look good in this movie. How old is Bill Murray? He's not in his 70s, right?
He's probably about 70, right?
Seriously? Dude, I didn't know he was... Wait, let me fact check this. Bill Murray.
He's exactly 70.
Exactly 70, wow.
Yeah. So when this was filmed, he would have probably been 69 or 68 because he just turned 70.
The headlines for this movie are Murray still has it in quirky drama on the rocks. No, he doesn't.
He was likable in like a few parts, like when they got pulled over. Because that was like classic, like a Bill Murray. It wasn't creepy because there was, I guess, no women on screen with him.
Yeah.
And then like him singing, he does a lot of singing in this film and Lost in Translation combined. He's just singing a lot.
He just reads, I don't know. He reminds me, and this is exactly who his character is, as like this guy who's like got it all and is like old as hell, and because of that, no one can really tell him otherwise. Like no one's gonna change this guy's mind. He's so fixated on like what he is and how he's living, and and characters like that do not make for good movies, in my opinion.
No,
I'm sure there are like others, but
he doesn't feel like capable of introspection or change.
Yeah, and it's like
he was similar to Trump, but like a little bit more introspective.
Yeah, he's like a quirky Trump. I don't know. I don't know. It just read, and it's like for this to come out in 2020, I think so many other important things are to be said, and so many other people should be paid attention to. I'm just like, why should anyone care about this movie?
Yeah. Okay. What was the deal with like the whistling?
I didn't know. That was also like
it felt like there was gonna be some weird like giant payoff.
No.
And it was just like Rashida Jones like, I can't whistle anymore. And first of all, I don't think that's a thing you just forget how to do.
Yeah.
But then she just would try whistling every now and then in the film.
I think it was just to add another like bond or quirk between the two.
Yeah. And then she received Bill Murray's watch.
Uh-huh.
And then at the end, she takes off that watch to put on the one her husband gave her. So it's like, I felt like that was supposed to be like a really poignant moment.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like she's removing the watch from Bill Murray, who's like the weird guy who told her that all men are awful. Mm-hmm. And she's putting on the watch of her husband, who was faithful.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
I felt like this. But the thing was that it, like, again, some of the spy stuff was fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when it started feeling like a kind of goofy detective thing, where it's like, oh, it's like a mystery, but just to see if he's cheating on her. Like,
yeah,
I was like, oh, that's a cool premise, I guess. Like, that's kind of fun, but it really didn't have a lot of fun with it. I mean, it was fun in some parts. But yeah.
I just wish Rashida Jones was allowed to be a more interesting person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, it seemed Rashida Jones' wardrobe was ridiculous.
Yeah. Wait, I didn't pay that much attention, to be honest.
No, so she was wearing like almost the same thing in the whole film, and it was clearly putting her in the most unflattering clothes possible. To try to like further this point of like, oh, the husband must be interested in someone else.
Yeah.
So they kept putting her in like the most like over the top mom outfits ever. And I'm not saying that she looked bad in these outfits. I'm just saying like it seemed very deliberate that every single thing they would put her in to wear was to like make her look like a mom.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I am just looking at a few stills right now, but you're totally right. It's very aggressive.
Because I think it's because Rashida Jones is too attractive. Uh-huh. So they're like, well, this isn't really helping our point in the film if we put her in normal clothes.
Right. I just thought it was stale. And okay, I didn't like the performances either, to be honest. I mean, like Bill Murray does Bill Murray, and it was okay. Rashida was good. Her boyfriend was not good, in my opinion.
No.
I thought his performance was ass. I thought it was bad.
Yeah.
And again, it's like that was something in the Bling Ring where most performances in that were bad, but it kind of felt a bit like the point to me, at least. But this one, it didn't feel like there was any reward in it.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, there's so many characters that Bill Murray could have played from previous roles, and this film would have been better. Like, if Bill Murray was just, like, the same character he was in Meatballs, but he just grew up and then had a daughter...
That'd be fun.
This would have been a way better film. He could have thrown in anecdotes about how he, like, used to work at the summer camp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's like, yeah, there was this one kid, and I, like, coached him, and then he won the race at the end.
And it's just like a small anecdote. They're like, oh, cool. Anyways, there's my husband. I was just going to tail off.
Why did Bill Murray put his shoes on the counter in that one scene? Like when he was leaving, when he was like, yeah, like that was disgusting.
It's just a lot of weird things.
It's just a weird power move.
It's a very weird type of humor going on. That
I don't know.
Is only funny between a father and daughter that have been living together for years.
Like it feels like that was an ad lib that Bill Murray did on set.
Probably.
And it would play as funny in person because it's just so weird, but it doesn't really play in the context of the film.
In the movie, yeah. I honestly think I've said everything I have to say about it.
Me too. So I mean I gave it a 2.5.
Okay, I gave it a 2. I wanted to like this movie.
Yeah. The only thing that saved it for me was like some of the spy stuff, and the Mexico parts were kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it almost brought it home in the end, and then it didn't really.
And also the climax was just like such an anticlimax.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which, I mean, it felt like that was obviously very deliberate, and that they're like, okay, time to get here. And it's like, oh, he's not here.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't that fun of a time.
No. For something that really reads as something that's supposed to be like this very charming, like relax, like get a glass of wine and enjoy this tonight. It just felt like a bore. I was like, this
It's
should
not
yeah.
funny.
No.
But it's also like it doesn't make you feel anything else.
Yeah.
Because nothing's actually happening to like allow you to feel it. Like you feel a little bit of suspense in the middle, and that's about it.
Yeah.
But there's no other emotion that this film elicits.
It feels like one of those shoots that like a big branded fashion company makes. You know when they just put out those like videos of people doing stuff in their clothes? This just felt like that as a movie. Like people are they're just enjoying the New York nightlife in a very low stakes plot, and then it doesn't really end with any point. And I'm like, oh, well, it looked kind of nice. It looked expensive.
Right.
But, smelled like leather.
Yeah, the car was cool.
The car was very cool, yeah. But that's a 2-star for me. Cool. Also, the Letterboxd synopsis is way shorter. It's just faced with sudden doubts about her marriage, a young New York mother teams up with her larger-than-life Playboy father to tail her husband. And that's all you need to know.
Yeah, but he's larger than life in like a weird way.
In a weird way, yeah. Where it's like
not a cool way.
He's the type, yeah. Okay. Well, that's On the Rocks.
And this episode's on the rocks.
Yes. Yeah. Wait. Yep. Didn't want to play that twice.
You just keep playing it over and over again. It's like, yeah, the button's broken. Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
it's gonna be the rest of the
this is
episode. Like,
gonna be what it is. You guys can suck it up. Cool. Well, our next movie is another Sofia Coppola movie starring Bill Murray.
Yeah.
This one came out in 2003. Almost, that's 17 years ago.
It is.
And it is about a lonely aging movie star named Bob Harris, played by Bill Murray, and a conflicted newlywed Charlotte, played by Scarlett Johansson, meet in Tokyo. Bob is there to film a Japanese whiskey commercial. Charlotte is accompanying her celebrity photographer husband. Strangers in a foreign land, the two find escape, distraction, and understanding amidst the bright Tokyo lights after a chance meeting in the quiet lull of the hotel bar. They form a bond that is as unlikely as it is heartfelt and meaningful. And this is, I mean, we can't really speak for On the Rocks because it's so new, but this is a like very high praised movie. A lot of people consider it to be a classic. Everybody knows what it is. And it's got like a little bit of controversy to it, and we'll get into all of it. But Jeff, what did you think about this movie? Oh, I should also mention it won the best original screenplay at the Oscars that year.
I actually, when I started film school, in my like first year, like the first project you have to do is a scene study.
Okay.
And it has to be for a film you had not seen. So I actually picked this film.
Oh.
So I had to read the whole script for this film.
But hadn't...
yeah, and then I picked this like a scene to do. So I did like one of the scenes when like the letter was slipped under the bed or under the door, and like they were in the bed together, like talking. Yeah, so I actually had to like rent a hotel room at what? It was like it was a hotel in the Loop, and I like brought like film equipment into this hotel room. It was fine.
That's funny.
Yeah, but I had it like. Because they made us go through the whole process of like having auditions, which I think this is the only thing I've ever actually cast via auditions, because I normally just cast people I know.
Right.
But yeah, so I had this guy who he was like pretty good for just a random person who would agree to be in a scene study. And he was like in his like mid 40s, so he was like roughly the right age.
Yeah.
And he was like actually a pretty good actor, but he was just like this really interesting guy where like the day, because we did like one rehearsal like once, and the day before we were supposed to do this, he kept like texting me, and he's like so apparently he kept texting me, and it was just like through the text I learned that he was on a boat, and the boat stopped working, and it was starting to sink. So he was like, yeah, like, I don't know, hopefully I can make it to your thing like tomorrow. It's like, but I'm getting like really sunburnt, and this boat's sinking, and like the Coast Guard's coming to rescue us. And I'm like, yeah, no worries,
dude. And he made it.
He made it, yeah, and he was fine. I think he was sunburnt that day for sure. But
oh my God.
On the shoot, he was fine.
What a guy.
Yeah, like the shoot went pretty well for a scene study.
Right.
Yeah, and then I showed it in class, right? And I played in class, and there's this one guy in this class who, first of all, he just showed his scene study, and it sucked. He didn't even get a crew. He just shot it with 2 actors in the back of his car. Mm-hmm. And it was like a scene from a film where like it wasn't a car, but his version of it was really weird. Like he set these lights in the like footwell of his car, so it was just like lit from like below, and it made no sense. It was just really weird. But yeah, so his thing was terrible. And then he still has like the audacity to comment about mine. And his comments were, and keep in mind, the premise of this assignment is it's a film you've never seen before. After he watches mine, he raised a hand and he said, I think it's a little too close to the original. I'm like, so I then like, because that was supposed to be a question for me, so I'm like, thank you, I guess, because I've never seen it. That's the point of the assignment.
It's the whole thing.
Yeah, and then like the teacher of the class started yelling at him. But then, also in my film, after this, he like raised his hand again. So in Chicago, there's a large Chinatown. Mm-hmm. And part of the scene, like out the window, you see like the Japanese skyline. You see like different, Japanese buildings and stuff. I'm like, as a facsimile for a scene study, it does not matter at all. I just got I went to Chinatown and got B-roll of like just Chinese, buildings, with like Chinese text on them.
Yeah.
I'm like, for a scene study, that is a fairly good facsimile. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, that's actually Chinese, not Japanese, and this is supposed to be in Tokyo. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, it was
not the point of the assignment.
Just yeah.
I was like, yeah. Anyways, then later, like a year later, like I got kicked out of the school. So.
Oh my God!
I know that story was all over the place.
No, that was a great story that has to do with the movie. So.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, so now that you finally have seen it.
I have seen it. So
good
this is
scene?
the first time I'd ever seen it. Actually, to be fair, my scene study was reasonably close.
Yeah.
To like the aesthetic of this film.
Yeah.
Although I did, you know what? I guessed wrong on the bed positions they were in.
Oh. Well.
I had them flipped into
yeah.
which side of the bed they were on.
You came close.
I just couldn't get in the mind of Sofia Coppola.
Right. Yeah. Cool. Well, then I guess we'll get into it.
We'll talk about the actual film and not my scene study version.
Yeah, I guess we can just
analyze my scene study version.
Still, both of us haven't seen the movie.
You're like, honestly, this kind of sucks.
Kind of
1 star.
You guys should not check this out. No.
Yeah. So please do not check out my scene study. I don't even know where that is. If it still exists. But yeah. So this film, I like this film.
Yeah. Me too.
This is a good film.
Because I haven't seen this since high school, and I remember really liking it in high school. But like part of it rubbing me the wrong way, and since I guess growing up and learning more and reading more, I'm like, oh yeah, and just like I think paying a bit more attention to movies, I was like, oh yeah, there were some racist moments in there.
Yeah.
With some really weird humor. About just like Japanese culture,
right?
And that
it was mainly just like pronunciation of words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just this like, yeah. So that put like this sour taste in my mouth about this movie. That I'm like, it's this quirky like finding yourself movie that is like just using like Japanese culture as a punchline rather than doing anything. And I was just like, this is it's not a good movie. But again, I hadn't seen it since high school. Rewatched it now. All that aside, I think, it's a pretty good movie.
Yeah. I mean, because part of it, they definitely do, it is kind of a fish out of water type film in some respects where the characters are like, just like, amused by the fact that they're in Japan.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also none of the because the characters themselves are definitely slightly, like some of the jokes they make are kind of like racist jokes.
Yeah.
And so obviously there's a difference between the filmmaking intention and action of characters. But at the same time, none of the Japanese characters in this film are very fleshed out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And obviously it's not about them, but even then, like all of the characters that are Japanese in this film do feel fairly like one-dimensional.
Yeah. I mean, them being in Tokyo is a part of the plot, and that cultural divide is like the movie's called Lost in Translation.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is like a lot of those little moments and punchlines, which happen primarily in the first act, I'd say, just really throws them at you in the first 5 minutes, but
yeah,
they don't serve a greater purpose, which is why I'm like, they just kind of felt like jokes and like comedic relief that has aged. And again, it was 2003. This is actually like a pretty tame film as far as stereotypes and humor go, I'd say. But yeah. I thankfully, though, with that said, the fact that they aren't like a huge part of the plot and there's so much more to this movie, it really doesn't ruin it that much for me.
Okay, there's not a... Is there a basketball scene in this film?
I don't remember there being one.
No. I didn't look away, but because in the script I read, which I guess they just cut it from the film.
Yeah.
There was a scene after like one of them being in bed conversations where it was Bill Murray playing basketball, and like in the script it just says like Bill Murray is way taller than everyone else. He's dominating. So it's supposed to be a joke that like Japanese people are short. I'm like, what?
That's
I remember reading that,
and
so I think that was probably smart to cut.
Yeah, they wrote that in the screenplay, and the Oscars were like, "That's the best original screenplay of the year for sure." We're giving that the award.
Like I don't remember exactly verbatim what it said, but it pretty much was like, "Yeah, he's way taller than everyone else, and he's dominating."
That's so weird.
Like, what?
Yeah. So a few things that I love about this movie, though. Now that we kind of got that huge issue out of the way, is, well, first of all, okay, well, this movie, it's all about like traveling, really, and well, not all about traveling, but it's like a huge part of it is that they're both away from home and in the city that they're super unfamiliar with. They're both lonely outside of that, like they're very lonely people, and putting those two together. Because I think, like, I don't know if you've experienced this, but if I go to, like, a different city, even if I'm, like, super excited about the trip and I'm alone, and it's just, like, that first, like, lonely night in the hotel is just so sad for some reason. Like, I get sad about it for some reason. I'm sure you don't, actually, because you do it all the time.
I do it a lot,
but it's, like, I think I just have, like, a weird, like, what's the word? I'm blanking on the word. I struggle with like adapting in new situations, I think. So this movie is heavily about that, in my opinion, and it nails it like so well. I'm like, this is a movie. This is a movie. Yeah. It's just great. I really like how it did that theme.
The emotions that the characters are feeling are actual like relatable emotions, which, you know, obviously in the other film we talked about, less so.
Yeah. Unlike a lot of Sofia Coppola movies, this has some amazing acting, in my opinion.
You didn't relate to them breaking into Paris Hilton's house in Bling Ring?
I mean, that's an exception. I've done that many times, but I really felt for both of the characters. Regardless of how shitty they are, specifically Bill Murray, I guess. But like I felt for both of them. I don't know. And then also where was I going with this? Oh, it's kind of a side note, but the score in this movie is like so good to me. I really like it. Yeah. Because I think it's very specific, and I'm like, what does this sound like? And it sounds like the kind of songs and music that plays in like hotel lobbies and like where it's like this weird, it's like kind of clubby, but it's very mellow, and it's like pop alternative kind of, but really dumbed down. And
yeah,
I think that's exactly what the score is, and it really brings that home.
Yeah. Okay, I do like the score and like soundtrack of Sofia Coppola's films that I've seen in general.
Yeah.
Like even On the Rocks, the best part of it
Is the
was
music.
like the music by Phoenix.
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and this, like, the soundtrack was also really good. I also like the songs they were singing at karaoke.
Yeah. They're so good.
Like Bill Murray singing Elvis Costello.
Right. I don't know. I really liked all of the music here, and it really kind of it carries the movie. Because I'm trying to picture a lot of these scenes without it, and I'm like, it just doesn't work the same. Because it just feels very nostalgic to me for some reason.
I think, like, one thing I was thinking about was that I don't think it's possible now to have the same type of isolation as there, in this film in 2003. Because now, like, I travel all the time, right? And back then, it was like there was you were talking to someone on a phone, and all you do is you hear their voice, and then you just like hang up, and then you're just alone again completely. Where now, when you're on your phone, you're never as alone. Plus, you can FaceTime people like whenever you want. So I think that there is like a very large gap in the maximum amount of aloneness.
Yeah.
You can really be now versus then. Where then it's like you're in Japan, you're completely alone.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, because it's like I feel
they were finding like kind of a kindred spirit in like an ocean, rather than now you can swipe on Tinder and get a date if you wanted to in Japan.
You can check in with like what's going on back in the States directly.
Right.
On your
like, yeah, when I was in like this small city in Morocco, and I'm still just like scrolling through like Twitter.
Yeah.
That's
a good point. Yeah. And that is true. Yeah, I don't think this movie would work at all today.
Yeah.
For that exact reason.
And they wouldn't be passing notes to each other through like concierge. They would just be like texting.
Yeah.
They'd be like, "Yo, what's your Instagram handle?"
This, I don't know if you caught this, but this and In the Mood for Love are very similar. Like kind of.
That is a good. Yeah, I do see that now. I did not. That did not occur to me until you just mentioned it, though.
Yeah, I just caught it in like a few specific moments, and it was I saw it because I watched this on Amazon, and they have the trivia, and one of like on the last screen, or the last like few shots or whatever, I just looked at the trivia, and it said that Sofia Coppola thanked Wong Kar-wai in her acceptance speech because of it, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's like so it's a direct so this so
thank you for letting me plagiarize your film.
Right. But no, I don't know, I liked it. The movie needs to be like, it really needs these characters to be lonely, and it does that really well, and you get a pretty good movie out of it.
Yeah, I mean, Sofia Coppola films are kind of a mood, and I liked this mood.
Me too. Yeah, it's got
On the Rocks is also a mood. It's just a weird mood.
It's a weird mood. And Bling
it's
Ring,
like when you're at a restaurant with like a racist family member, and like you're just hoping they don't say something too loud. Yeah,
that's literally what it was. On the Rocks is very much like a movie for people that are still going to restaurants right now.
Yeah,
that's it's like they'll get a kick out of it.
Yeah, it's the people that are taking their yard signs out.
Yeah,
people that you're replacing your 7 flags on your truck with a different 7 flags.
People with a lot of flags. That's what On the Rocks is for. No, yeah, I loved the aesthetic of this one. Like it was kind of, I don't know if you can relate to this, but I've seen so many of these shots before like on Tumblr in GIFs in the past. I'm like, yeah, because it's like a super Tumblr movie where it's just aesthetically pleasing, regardless of if you know what the plot is at that moment.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely a Tumblr film for sure. Like in the same vein as like Wes Anderson films.
Right. And like Her.
Which Wes Anderson films are probably the number one Tumblr films. Like Darjeeling Limited is such a Tumblr film.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, that's...
Like I used Tumblr for like 3 minutes, like in, 2010. And I remember I saw like one that was just like blinking letters that was just still from Darjeeling Limited and just said, fuck the itinerary.
I would say, I'd argue Life Aquatic is more of a Tumblr movie than Darjeeling Limited.
Yeah, they're both
they're
both
love
up there.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the most Tumblr movie. I said Her earlier. I think Her is
that's a Tumblr
super
movie.
Tumblr, yeah.
Yeah.
That and like
oh man.
Little Miss Sunshine.
Oh, La La Land. That's a Tumblr
La La
movie.
Land's pretty Tumblr, yeah.
I mean, it would be if Tumblr was still as big now.
Yeah.
It couldn't have been a Tumblr movie because it was too late.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like the number one Tumblr movie would be a film that's like made in between 2005 and like 2012.
Right. Black Swan is pretty.
Oh, Black Swan would have been
definitely
a huge Tumblr
like
movie.
it knocks off all the boxes in like it's edgy, it's erotic, and it looks good. Like it's artsy and has a very specific like that's totally.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
this is like it sounds like we're answering a question someone asked.
No, yeah, we are answering our own question. Yeah. So yeah, I can't really elaborate on anything I've said about this, but because like you said, it's such a mood, and I think so much of like what you get out of it is just watching it and being there with them.
Yeah.
I was sad by the end too.
Yeah, I just feel like Sofia Coppola, the goal is to like sit you into like this space and let you feel one feeling for a long period of time. I don't feel like there's really a lot of like valleys and hills that you're trying to be like, and different things you're trying to feel throughout it. I feel like it's just different levels of one mood.
Yeah. And she does that one mood really well. It's just a matter of if you want to be there. And On the Rocks, I just can't imagine someone liking that, dude. Like it's so...
I feel like if you're very specifically thinking your partner is cheating on you vaguely, not even like any evidence, you're just like vaguely thinking that, then maybe that's the mood for you.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's like a wide appealing mood.
Yeah. Well, I think that's
or if you're really creepy like Bill Murray.
Yeah. He's a little creepy in Lost in Translation too, to be fair.
Yeah, but definitely less creepy.
Yeah. The film acknowledges it, I think, more than it does.
Yeah.
On the Rocks, they're just like, no, he's quirky. He's Bill Murray. Yeah. Well, I think that... do you have anything else to say about Lost in Translation?
I don't.
Cool. Well, I like it, yeah. I think it's got some problems. Yeah. It hasn't aged well. Both. It doesn't work, and it also is offensive, but I felt for it.
What do you mean it doesn't work?
Like we said, as like the phone call. Like
I mean, it wouldn't work now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's affected how it... Yeah, I don't think
it doesn't affect the movie.
Because obviously we can still, in our minds, visit that time period.
Right.
But I was just saying it's interesting to think about.
Yeah.
And I know that's what
I meant.
Also were saying.
And I
know
didn't
that's what
really...
you meant. I don't think you're like an idiot. I can't even imagine not having a phone. Yeah. I just wanted to clarify that was our stance.
Right,
so no one else questioned that. It's like... Yeah, you know what? Casablanca's dumb because it's not in the middle of any kind of like world wars or anything.
Yeah.
Now, like I can't
imagine living
not
like
the exact
that.
time period that this, like Little Women's stupid because like, you know that we have electricity now. We could easily cure that disease. She would not have died.
We don't ride on carriages. Yeah. Well, with that being said, what did you give Lost in Translation out of 5?
4.
4, yeah. I gave it 4 as well. I'm gonna stick it with 4. Just curious.
What time of day?
Time of day, I'd give this a 7.
10.
10.
I gave it a 10.
10. No. 10 is a better one. Yeah, this is a good late night movie.
Yeah.
Definitely a late night movie. Now I'm curious, real quick. Now that we've watched and talked about 3 Sofia Coppola movies on the podcast, Virgin Suicides, or not Virgin Suicides, we didn't talk about that. Bling Ring, Lost in Translation, On the Rocks. What is your ranking for these 3 movies from best to worst?
Okay. So obviously, I mean, number 1 is obviously Lost in Translation.
Okay.
It's very tough for me to decide between Bling Ring and On the Rocks.
Okay.
Now, if you go by Letterboxd, I gave On the Rocks 2.5, as I said earlier, and I gave Bling Ring 2.
Okay.
But the problem is, I think if someone says you have to watch one of these again, I think I would rather watch Bling Ring again.
Okay.
Because it's just a more like briskly paced film.
Yeah.
Where the first 40 minutes of On the Rocks are just
boring.
so boring to me.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine watching that again, right? Because it's the only interest of this film comes from the suspense. And if you already know what's going to happen, there's just no reason to watch it.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think that I'm going to, would I give them, I think I'd have to say that in terms of rewatchability, Bling Ring for sure is ahead.
Okay.
I don't know. I'll tie. I'm going to give them a tie.
Okay. Mine goes Bling Ring, Lost in Translation,
Really?
On the Rocks.
I
just
don't
barely
get this Bling Ring. I don't get this Bling Ring like love that everyone has.
I think it's crazy. It doesn't hold back on how ugly it is. And it's just
it's ugly to look at.
It's a terrible
the acting's
aesthetic,
bad.
and I think it's all it knows that, and it's goofy to me. I think it's fun. I think it's so fun. But my favorite of hers
at
is
least
The
I
Beguiled.
can understand.
Yeah.
The
The Beguiled is a great movie. It's totally different from anything she's done. That's why it's so weird that it's that, but it's very fun and cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll watch that one next.
Sweet. And Virgin Suicides is overrated, but that's just mine. Cool. Well, we should probably get into questions. Because we
probably should.
We're sitting at 57 minutes. These are all pretty quick questions.
Do we have any $15 Patreon questions?
We do not. Let me double check real quick. But I'm pretty sure we don't because I just put out the thread.
What's the hoodie you're wearing?
Oh, so the hoodie I'm wearing is some new merch. It is the classic tagline at the end of my videos, form your own opinion, with a bunch of little circles and squares.
Little circles.
There's
some warped circles.
Yeah, see, now you could say these are just random shapes and it just adds some flavor, but you know, with that, well, it doesn't look, well, that's my little icon on Letterboxd. So these are a bunch of like other color icons. So it's like everybody's got their own little.
It's like you could say they're random, but this one means something.
Yeah.
So pretend the other ones mean something.
Yeah. Exactly. So, oh, we do have. I didn't know we had all these questions on Patreon. Let me just check.
I'm just gonna say, the hoodie does look cool.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, and it's also this is my first with one of these. It's a Champion. Teespring has a partnership with Champion, so it fits really well. It's probably the best piece of merch I've put out yet. So they're not on
the Karstcast.
Besides the Karstcast hats,
maybe.
Yep. These are not for sale yet, but they will be soon. Yeah, we do have. I'll answer one of these from the Patreon. From $15 patron Jacob Colness. It is, what classic film would be better if you replaced the lead with Hubie from Hubie Halloween?
What classic film would be better?
Yeah.
I mean, that's okay. That is actually a very interesting question.
Yeah.
Because you want to find one where I feel like it has to be a comedy.
Well,
I just think that any dramatic film, you would ruin why it's good.
So
if you put Hubie in it.
Hear me out.
Yeah.
It's a Wonderful Life with Hubie. Have you seen it? Yeah, Hubie as the main character, because it's like it would make sense. Hubie's just down on his luck, and it's like kind of this. It's the same city. Well, no, it's the same city, and It's a Wonderful Life. But it would also work in the Hubie universe. I'd say, It's a Wonderful Life.
You know what? If I go in because there's a classic film that I don't like that much, but just going with the Christmas vibe, I think A Christmas Story, he replaces Ralphie.
I have not seen A Christmas Story, to be honest.
Okay,
but
well,
I know what it is.
It's like it's a film that a lot of people love. My family loves it, and I hate it. I think it's awful. I mean, there's one really super incredibly racist scene in the film.
Yeah. But
the rest of it I just don't like,
Ralphie,
even if you exclude that scene.
Dude, that's so funny.
Yeah, but I think that maybe we need to come up with one non-Christmas film. Yeah.
Well, now I'm thinking about, you brought up Casablanca earlier.
Yeah. You think that would be better?
No, I just like that's the one on my mind. What about like let's see.
Hubie does some pretty good physical comedy.
So
I think there's an argument that you could throw him in like a Charlie Chaplin film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Modern Times.
Yeah, definitely not The Great Dictator.
No.
That would be a different film.
Silence of the Lambs.
Hubie Halloween is Hitler.
I mean, his mustache is already almost there.
Yeah, it's Hitler Halloween.
Yeah. I said Silence of the Lambs with Hubie as Hannibal Lecter.
Interesting.
It would not work at all.
Yeah. Wait. Ooh, I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. Space Odyssey. And Hubie is Hal.
Oh my god.
It's Hubie Halloween.
Dude. No, wait. I meant to. You get what I was trying to do. That's the right answer. Cool. Great. Well, I guess that answers that. I'm just trying to picture him being like. Oh man. Never mind. This next one comes from these come from the subreddit. And this first one comes from Tingaling01. It is I guess this is kind of a mean question, and we don't have to actually answer this, but is it, have you ever been bullied, or were you the bully? I find it hard to believe you were ever a bully, Jeff.
Yeah, I was never a bully.
Okay.
Yeah, one time some guy like pushed me into a locker.
Oh
Not
my
like into
God.
the inside of the locker, just like pushed me like physically into the outside of. I didn't get pushed into a locker like the inside of a locker. I'm just saying like I got pushed into like the doors.
Yeah. That is the dictionary definition of being bullied. Like,
but it wasn't like a repeated thing, right?
No, it was just a one time. Was it a joke?
Yeah, it was like in middle school. It wasn't a joke. It was just like this guy trying to be cool.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I was bullied in middle school too. They took my shoes and started playing catch with them. And it's kind of funny, but the thing is they were brand new shoes. I was super hyped about them. I remember being very sad when it happened. I was like, man. Yeah. Because I was like...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you go. I just have a thing after that.
I was just like... Because I didn't think I was being bullied earlier. And then when that happened, right. I was like, well, this is obviously bullying. So I guess I'm being bullied. There's not...
Okay. Did you ever have this thing in your middle school where people thought it was hilarious to leave ketchup packets on the ground so that people would step on them and it would shoot everywhere?
All the time.
Yeah, because one time someone, like, it shot all over my shoes.
Yep.
And that was, like, super mean.
Dude, that was a big thing in elementary school for me. Like, little-ass kids doing that.
Yeah.
And I remember being like,
mean.
Fuck this, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is oh my God, I totally forgot about that prank. It's a dirty one. Literally.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so messed up.
I knew a kid who did the tack on the teacher's chair.
Okay, that you can kill someone.
Kill someone?
You can kill someone, yeah, because if like the end of the tack is like not, sanitary, there can be like bacteria on it,
and yeah,
then you can kill. You can like give someone like blood poisoning.
Oh, yeah. So this kid was like new to the school, and he was on the swim team, and he did that and got in a lot of trouble. And because I was one of the few people on the swim team at the time, the principal was like, Karsten, I'm putting you in charge of looking after this kid and giving him a friend. I was like, what? Me? Now I'm in charge of this kid? And turns out we ended up being great friends. Anyways, moving on. This next one comes from Voluptuous Cheeks. What is your Netflix and or Disney Plus profile icons?
Oh, I thought I was gonna ask for your like account login and password.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, interesting question, Voluptuous Cheeks. Yeah, what is your profile icon, Jeff?
So Netflix, mine is BoJack Horseman.
Like BoJack himself?
Yeah.
Wait, that's so funny. Mine's Mr. Peanut Butter, which is exactly our thing.
Yeah, I don't think I have any other one set up for any other.
Okay. Yeah, you don't have a
service.
Disney Plus. Yeah.
I do have access to Disney Plus because my sister has it, so I just like set that up, but I didn't like make a picture.
I got you. Yeah, well, mine on Netflix is Mr. Peanut Butter, and mine on Disney Plus is Troy Bolton from High School Musical.
Yeah, that tracks.
That tracks, yeah. The funny thing about the Disney Plus one is it's just me and my sister, and her icon is Elsa from Frozen, and her name is
because her name is Elsa.
Elsa, right? So, just over. Well, anyways,
it's funnier though. Like what I've learned is that the Dutch isn't actually funny. Like you make a joke funnier if you play the buzzer.
Oh.
Like that's way funnier. Someone says something funny and then you hit the buzzer.
Yeah. Well, this last one comes from Funkiest Lion 99, and it is, what is your least favorite movie ending ever? Now, mine is for a movie that I haven't seen, but it has a crazy ending, like an infamous, like everyone knows about this ending. I'm just double checking the name of the movie now. So, okay, yeah. It's this movie from 2010 called Remember Me. And it's like a normal, I think it's like a romance drama. That's like very normal, has nothing to do with 9/11. And the movie, exactly.
So it ends with that?
It ends, it's just this other movie, and then it ends with the main character. It's this long zoom in of him in the Twin Towers right before it happens. It's like this crazy twist.
There's no way that's your least favorite though. That sounds awesome.
It's, I mean, a thing where it talks about it, but anyways, yeah, that's just the craziest ending I can think of, and it's just, I want to watch the movie to see what it feels like to really reach that. But yeah, what about you?
So I'm just saying, if you go type worst movie endings into Google,
yeah,
here the list. I'm just looking for the first one of a film that I've seen.
Okay.
Wait. What do we look? Okay, so a lot of these seem like horror films. Is what they want to go with.
Yeah.
Source Code with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh.
Number 9 on this list is 2012, the horror film.
Yeah.
Or it's like the disaster film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, none of these seem that interesting.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I gotta be honest, this was not worth looking up this list.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I realized, the thing is, I had this answer ready the moment I read the question.
You did.
And I realized, like, if you didn't have that, it's kind of hard to think of one.
That's a hard one to answer.
Yeah.
But you know what? This list came through.
Mm-hmm. Why?
Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. That ending was stupid. So actually, you know what? That is my answer, and I'm going to stand by that. That ending actually is that I actually kind of like that movie. Mm-hmm. Just because it's like still fun and
still
Indiana
campy,
Jones
yeah.
and Harrison Ford. But the problem is the ending is so dumb.
For
So
sure. Yeah.
thank you, internet list.
Yeah, for reminding us about the kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
Those are my thoughts on that movie. Cool. Well, that does it for questions. Yeah, we'll wrap things up here. Let's see. So we like to.
I got a question for you.
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite freeze-dried fruit?
Freeze. What's yours?
Banana.
I'm gonna go strawberry.
Strawberry's a good choice.
Yeah, strawberry. I like strawberries a lot, to be honest.
Yep. So
But banana is
honestly
a
good advice.
Yeah, for sure.
Banana is amazing freeze-dried.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Okay. Well,
Anyways, back to the
wrap up. What are we doing for a movie next week?
Yeah, we really should have talked about this.
Yeah, there's this new movie out that is
yeah.
available to rent called Kajillionaire. It's supposed to be weird. And
It's called Kajillionaire.
Kajillionaire. It was big.
Is it about some guy who gets a bunch of money?
No. Well, I actually don't know the plot that well. I can read it for you if you want.
Yeah.
Two con artists have spent 26 years training their only daughter to swindle, scam, and steal at every turn. During a desperate...
Okay, yes.
Yes. Okay, cool. I'm very excited. It's available to rent. Let me just double check it's not too expensive to rent, because I don't want to make someone...
As long as it's not like $100.
It is a very fresh release. Okay, well, it's a $20 rent.
It's a $20 rent.
Yeah, so that's a little pricey.
It's a little on the high side.
A little on the high side. We'll wait it out. We will tweet out what we watch, because right now we don't really know. But
yeah,
cool.
That's a fair
assessment. But on another note, we'd like to thank. We'd like to read a review.
Yeah. So this one is from October 23rd. And it says Florida Tier Podcast.
That's not good.
It's from, but 5 stars.
5 stars?
Yeah, from pal.mfr.
Okay.
It's these guys are out here talking about the country bears while their friends are working on Batman. And it says LMAO. No, but in all seriousness, this is my favorite podcast, and it's actually what got me listening to podcasts in the first place.
Oh, wow.
I'm going through a really tough time in my life right now, and listening to Karsten and Jeff fills me with a lot of comfort, and they make me laugh even in my darkest days.
Wow.
Thank you for reminding me that there is always a light and that I'll get through this. 1,000 out of 10, this podcast is Florida Tier.
Jesus Christ.
That was one of the most wholesome reviews we got, and yes, thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, that was an applause, by the way, that I think was way too loud, but thank you. Yeah, for sure. That was great.
It's like applause, and then everyone goes deaf.
Yeah, it's just.
Then next week, all of the reviews are like 0 out of 5. I can't hear anymore.
Okay, well, this last thing we like to do is thank the lovely patrons.
They're my favorite.
They're the best. If you would like to become a patron, head on over to patreon.com/Karstcast, where you can get exclusive access to bonus episodes, Q&As, shout-outs at the end of every episode, a Zoom hangout that will be happening on the 15th of November.
So at the time this comes out, that
is a week from yesterday.
It's this upcoming Sunday.
Mm-hmm. So be on the lookout for that. There will be more details on the Twitter and Patreon page. We'll be doing a Zoom hangout where we just kind of hang out, and
you can ask Karsten any question you want about anything. And he has to answer it.
It's
like a truth or dare thing, but it's always truth and it's always Karsten.
Right. I didn't agree to that, but sure. Anyways, get in on the fun, and $15 patrons, as you may know by now, get their questions answered in the main episodes like today. Cool. Well, with all that being said, thank you, Allison Grace, Annabelle Falk, Bex, Blake Root, Boat, Brandon Yu, Brock Schultz, Cameron Mason McCurdy, Camilla, Eden, Ethan Justice, Fozzie Bear, Grant Gow, Hannah E, Harry, Remedianakis. Holly Edwards, I'm writing this Patreon name before the election results. Iron Tusk 93, Isabel, Iva, Jaden Easton, Jacob Kolnis, John Van Hout, Joshua Kraswicki, Katie T, Kevin Turner, Lick Wee, Liv Rob, Lucian Vecina, Luke Vineyard, Maddie Robertson, Martin Deff, Marilee Borslow, Michael Decker, Moses Ox, Monroe Page, Pablo Patel, Parks, Ready Steady, Ernie, Robert Burke, Sam Farr, Sophia Arieta, Supercalifragilistic, XBLadocious, Smitty Werbin, Jagerman Jensen, Taylor Hardy, 10 Billion, The Lock-Picking Lawyer, Toad Pimp, Vegard Strom, Vera S, Yoki Sasquatch, and Yusef A. Lads, give yourself a round of applause. Wait.
It's like every button does the buzzer now.
That was a genuine mistake. That was... yeah. Great. Thank you, guys. I just downloaded the applause today, which is why I'm using it so much. Well, this was...
It's good applause.
Yeah, this was a long episode, to be honest. And
we did 2 movies.
We did 2
so
movies.
Fair enough.
So, Jeff, do you have anything else to say?
Yeah, I'm actually going to read a monologue that I prepared. No, I'm just kidding.
Go ahead, Jeff. Yeah.
Catch you on the flip side.
Catch you on the flip side.
Flip side. Karstcast. Karstcast movie cast.
Wait, I forgot to fade out. Cool.